Hello, amazing people. Hello, hello, hello. How y'all doing tonight? Thank y'all for tuning in tonight to this pop-up show. This show is so needed tonight. I'm so excited um to be back. So we'll be football's not on, so we'll be on Sundays when football season comes again, then we'll move to Tuesdays, okay? Um y'all see what tonight's topic is about. It's a topic that we definitely don't talk about like we should talk about. We don't talk about it. There's a lot of people that are healing. There are some people that are still suffering. I definitely chose this topic because of the amount of stories that I have heard behind this topic. One thing that I'm really finding out are that because of the stance that I take on my platforms, a lot of people are reaching out to me. Um, and venting to me about molestation, about trauma and hurt and pain from their mother. I thought this was very important to come and talk about because we don't talk about it from that aspect. We'll always come to the table and not saying it's not relevant, but we will always talk about how a father hurts their children, how a father's not present. We will always talk about those type of things, but we will never come to the table and talk about the effects that women have on their children. I have heard, so many horror stories. And one thing that I don't understand, and maybe some people can help me understand tonight. I know there was a lot of debating in the comments, especially on Instagram. But um I know that there was just a lot of stories, a lot of people saying that, it happened to them. You see what I'm saying? By their mother's boyfriend. It happened to them because their mother, left them places, with people and they were molested, you know. My thing tonight is to talk about it. I want anybody to be able to call in. I want people to be able to call in tonight. You don't have to say your name, but you can definitely share your experience, and you can share your story. I'm big on sharing, because I feel like it's healing when you talk about things, very healing when you talk about it. Um, I know on social media we talk a lot about black women talk a lot about feeling unprotected. That's the big thing. Black women feel unprotected when it comes to black men. I want to know, why aren't we talking about the children that feel unprotected in the black community? Where are the voice for the children in the black community? I had people, when I first put this topic on my YouTube, I had people saying, well, disregarding, me coming to the table, saying, why do children have to be victims to molestation? Why are mothers exposing their children to men they don't even know? That's a big problem in our community. Some women aren't even getting to know these men. They're just moving them in their house. You know nothing, about them really. I mean, are y'all checking Megan's list? Are y'all looking at, their criminal backgrounds? Like, are you making sure that you are taking the necessary steps to protect your children? And I feel like some are dropping the ball with that. I feel like, children should not have to sit up here and be touched. I I I don't like it. I don't even like to think about it. And what really hurts me is some people know that these children are being touched and they're saying nothing. They're saying nothing. It's like you can sit up and you can gossip about so many different things, but you can't sit up here and be a voice for a child. Do you know how that makes a child feel? When they're being touched and people know and people are silencing them, their mom is silencing them, their grandmother is silencing them, people in the family are silencing them. And I'm not just saying that, it's a man that the mom is bringing in the home. I've heard that there's some molestation fathers molesting their children, uncles, cousins, brothers, molesting their children. I wish I had the clip, but I'm going to tell y'all the scenario. I was watching Judge Judy one day, and it was a guy on there, black guy, and his baby's mom was on there. They were suing each other. So he had shared with Judge Judy. He said, um all of this came about with her, the police being involved, going to get PFAs, going to get emergency custody, because that's what this mother did. She ran and got emergency custody. Mind you, when this man was getting his child, he was also getting her other children, which, there's men out here that do that too. They won't talk about it, but it's men that, get the other children too. So he was getting all the children. He had all the children at the time, and his son told him that his older brother was molesting him. So he gets on the phone with the mom, expresses to her. Why isn't my ring light on? Sorry, y'all. There we go. There we go. Sorry. So expressed to he got on the phone with the mom, told the mom, this is what our son told me about your other son. Can you come and pick up your other son or whatever. And she immediately um got defensive, and she went the next day and hurried up and got an emergency PFA against him. Went to his house and made this excuse that she was taking all the kids, and she took all the kids home. He had to go through all this stuff. And that's why he was at court, suing. And, the judge really got on her. Like, he shared with you that your son was being molested by your other son, and you called the police and you got a PFA and you did all of this stuff. Do you see where there's no accountability? Do you see where there's no responsibility? You know why? Because when he expressed that to her, she felt convicted. She felt like she dropped the ball. Why didn't my son come to me and tell me this? Why is my older son doing this to my younger son? You see what I'm saying? Instead of working with the father, would seem like a great father. He was still getting your other kids as well. You get in return of the information, you go and you get a PFA. I was just blown away by that. I was like, so you're not going to talk about getting your little son some help? But I think that's how these situations are becoming um nothing but a cycle, because nobody's talking about it. I feel like it's because it's women, nobody's really talking about it. I feel like if there's some awareness and there's some prevention, then we can save our children from being molested, save other children, be a voice for those other children. I mean, could you really imagine? A kid doesn't know. I would really be ready to hurt somebody if that happened to my child. You see what I'm saying? Like, it really needs to be discussed, and it really needs to be addressed, because if it was coming from the fathers and things will happen immediately. Things will be, going on immediately. But it's coming from the mothers, and people are just sweeping it under the rug, and that's not cool. I seen people in the comments saying some of these moms know they don't care. How could you not care? How could you not care? I seen some women like, well, it was an abusive situation for me. I didn't know how to get away. And everybody's different. But what I'm gonna tell you, I don't care if somebody is beating me down. I don't care if somebody is beating me down. I got to worry about my kid at this point. If that's happening to my kid and it's abuse, I got to go. I got to get my child the safety. My child shouldn't have to go through these type of things. I'm sorry. But what the other thing that baffles me is some of these moms will keep the children away from the father, but give a man you don't even know access to your children. Move them right in. Don't know nothing about him. You see what I'm saying? Nothing. You just know you like him or you love him, or he sex you real good or whatever, but you don't know. You really don't know anything about him to have him around your children. But it's like tonight, I want people to, you know, share experiences if you want to, weigh in on, what I'm saying. If you have a different view, it's welcomed. But let's also talk about some ways that we can prevent this as well. Let's also talk about some ways how we can be a voice for these children, a safe haven. Children are gonna, what, I feel like if some of these children was able to see their father, I think that they would speak up about it. Why do children, I kind of feel like a fish out of the water with it. Why do you say that? I feel like if a child felt comfortable and was able to see like their father, that they would express to their father, this is what's happening to me. But they don't have that. I also feel like a lot. Oh, I didn't put the call in number up there. I'm sorry, y'all. I also um I also feel like, why, you right. We also do have a domestic violence problem. We do. We absolutely do. And I feel like um domestic violence is touchy, don't get me wrong, but I feel like when kids are involved, it's even more urgent, if that makes sense. It's already urgent, but I feel like it's even more urgent, when kids are involved. Because sometimes it's not only the person that's being abused, it be the children being abused as well. you know I'm gonna open up the phone lines, but mm, no. Mm, oh, it was already open. Hello, caller.
Hey, Sean, give me this Norman.
Hi, how you doing, Norman? How you been?
I'm doing all right.
Kid, are
Hold
you
on.
are you gonna call and weigh in on tonight's topic? Because that's the only thing I can talk about tonight is tonight's topic. Okay.
Uh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're doing we're doing
Uh,
we're doing
uh,
2 minutes. So go ahead.
huh?
We're doing 2 minutes. So let's go.
All right. I was a victim of it myself. You know what I'm saying? So, I have a cousin named Zeke. This happened when we were children. And yeah, he the oldest and everything. So the
Hmm.
thing is that they trusted him to take care of me, which he couldn't take care of a fly if you kept it in the damn cage. But yeah, like every time, like we every, every time the folks would get in the middle of it, he would say when he wanted me to promise not to tell anyone, that he would go around and start telling all my business. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing, because like when you're a kid, you know nothing about that.
Right.
Like
You
really, you
don't.
don't.
You don't, because you trust your
Yeah.
family. You see what I'm saying? You're not thinking, oh, family would do this to me. No, you trust your family. So a lot of kids don't
Uh,
even know they're being hurt. They don't even know they're being hurt. And that's the sad part about it. And then they threaten the
yeah.
children, like, don't tell nobody. But I always sat down and had that conversation with my kids. Like, I don't care if they threaten you, threaten me. I don't care who they threaten. You come and you tell me, because I need to be able to keep you safe. So did you tell anybody, Norman?
As I got older, when I got tired of it, yeah, man, I posted on Facebook,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, and then, yeah, I posted on Facebook and other stuff after that. And they kept telling me like, especially my younger sister, she called me saying, "Dude, you gotta take that down." I'm like, "No, because if that was me, y'all would have kept that post up there. Y'all would have been talking about me till the day I died." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So why I have to take it down? You know,
Right.
it's
Right.
okay if people say stuff about me.
Right. I do you
And
I do hear families saying that though. I don't really understand that though. I don't understand why you
Yeah, I
have
don't
to.
understand it
If
either.
you felt like you want to post your truth, then that's what you felt like you wanted to do. I don't understand why when the
Yeah,
truth is told in that kind of manner, why do we try to tell
yeah.
people to take it down? Or I seen a TikTok video where a girl was at a family reunion and her uncle that
Uh-huh.
molested her was there. And she snapped out. Like, why do I gotta keep coming to these family reunions and look at the person that was molesting me? That's wild.
Did she say it out loud? She said it out
Yeah,
loud?
yeah. Like it was wild.
Oh,
Like why does
oh.
somebody have to do that? Why does somebody have to go through that? It's not cool.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
not.
that's crazy, man. And then I don't like how certain men get put in jobs to where they're like, if the man don't want nothing to do with the child, like as far as the female child, like she would go to her mom and lie to him saying, "Oh, mom, he did this to me," knowing that the guy didn't. But she gonna take her son because that's her child. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, and that's the thing, cause like I was victim to that too. Cause I have female cousins, a female cousin to me the same way. But she, then she went behind my back and tried to blame that shit on me. And then my mom believed her.
That's
You know what I'm saying?
crazy. That's real
Yeah.
crazy.
So
Thank you, Norman, though, for
I mean,
calling in. Okay.
all right.
Thank you so much. That's true. So what he just said, right, is that the children that are being molested, not like what he said verbatim, but the children that are being, he made a great point. With the children that are being molested are being silenced. But then, the people that lie about it aren't being silenced. They're being taken serious. Like that's a imbalance. Like that's weird. That's something that shouldn't be lied about in the first place. But it's a shame because we have people walking around and that has never ever told anybody they've been molested by their mom, boyfriend, a family member, a sibling, whatever. Like it's really really sad. I know a young lady I've been in conversation with. She has a page on TikTok. That's how I found her. And her mother's boyfriend raped her, and her mother had he got convicted, and her mother is riding his jail sentence out. Is her mother is riding the jail sentence out with him. She even had him like a going to jail party. Hello, caller.
Oh, let me load down. Sorry.
It's okay. Hello, caller.
Hi, Charlatan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I just wanted to call in to just, thank you for, your platform. And
You gotta turn that down.
okay,
Yep, you
okay.
echoing a little bit.
Okay, I got you.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, your platform and the way you defend our young black men
Hmm.
in general.
Yeah.
Um, you kind of remind me of myself because I have like a toxic mom who her and my dad got a divorce. He was in my life,
Hmm.
and and I just can't remember anything bad. The stories I just don't remember them like that.
Right.
But nevertheless, I know I'm getting off a topic here. It's about the trauma that young kids have. It's just so much I want to talk to you about. But anyway, yeah, the trauma that young kids have.
Hmm.
A lot of that stuff happens in family, brothers, cousins,
Right.
and it is something that young women take to the grave,
Hmm.
because like it's just like as you get older, you're like embarrassed. You don't want to, put anyone on Front Street,
Right.
and when you are a black woman and you're dealing with all these traumas,
Hmm.
lighten up on us, sis. Okay, we go through things too, and that's all I wanted to say. I just appreciate, that, a lot of things, it does go hand in hand. And I get what you're saying completely. Like, we have been keeping our foot on our black men's neck. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same token, I believe in life.
Mm-hmm.
They've kept their foot on ours as well. But I do like your platform, and a lot of the things you're saying, I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
like, yeah,
Um,
that's it.
I wanna unpack the part where you say lighten up on us. Like explain
Yeah.
that to me.
I'm sorry I didn't get the last part.
You said lighten up on us. So I
Like
needed you to like unpack that and explain that to me so I could
like
understand what you
sisters,
mean.
that's what I'm saying. Like black women, because
Okay.
we deal with a lot of trauma too. When I say us, I mean like, us, you know,
So
just women in general,
so you feel like I'm hard on black women.
No, I don't feel you're hard. I feel that you're telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
there's a lot of toxic women. You
Mm-hmm.
know, kids are being raised by single mothers, so we do need to take that into account. That we are responsible for rearing these kids, and we can't just dump all our things
Mm-hmm.
off on them. You understand? And it's just like a funny thing because like it's life and it does like when you get older you're like, oh, that didn't affect me, and you realize you're in a house and you're really screwed up, like like you're really battling a lot of demons that you never even knew you had. I was in the house for like 3 years due to COVID and stuff like that, and I was just terrified to go out there. I wasn't taking any vaccinations, so I was totally against that. And I was just like hiding from everyone and everything, but I didn't even realize like I needed that time with myself and God
Mm-hmm.
to just unpack a lot of things, you
Right.
know?
So
And
okay. Um
yeah,
I'm still okay. So you're saying like lighten up on black women because black women go through things too.
yeah, not only that they go through things too, they go through things as single mothers. The reason why they're single is because the fathers aren't around. My mother, she didn't have that issue. You know what I'm saying? So the hate and the toxicity that comes from her, like we grew up in a brownstone, like I don't remember until my dad left after I had gotten into college and I was getting older after 18,
Mm-hmm.
and he just they couldn't do it anymore, so they peacefully said their goodbyes, and that was fine. But she like they want you to hate your father. You understand? And I just can't do that.
Right. I wanna explain something though. I want to explain something because there's a lot of black women that come on my channel and they're like, "Oh, you're always bashing." And this kind of really was in my spirit earlier that when I come, I don't think people really understand the definition of bashing versus the definition of truth. I've never come on my channel and bash black women.
No, I
Um,
didn't. I
no,
don't
no,
mean
no,
bash.
not
If
no,
I
not
said
saying
bash,
you.
I apologize. I shouldn't have used that word. You don't bash. You
No, no.
gracefully.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying the way you said like lighten up because we go through things too. I could come to the table and I could say the same thing about black men. Let's lighten up on black men because they go through. I feel like they go through double than what we go through. And that's just how I feel. I feel like for a long time it's been a lot of resources out here for black women. It's been okay for black women to go to therapy. It's okay for black women to cry. It's okay for black women to be struggling. It's come on, we gotta be real. In society, it's not okay for a black man to struggle. That's not
But
what
now,
they deem
but
that.
now it is, and you see a lot of them are becoming emasculated. You know what I'm saying? So like,
No,
it's
it's
like
still not okay because these women now are out here saying, I want a man to make $100,000. I want a man
I
to
lost,
come already
I lost,
healed.
I lost a lot of people in my life. Due to like gun violence, stuff like that. Right. My thing is this. You know what I'm saying? The traumas that I went through.
Mm-hmm.
I did unpack it on my daughter. Like it was a lot. You know what I'm saying? I lost her father a month before she was born. Like it was a lot. Like, I felt like he left me out here struggling for self, but at the end of the day, God had me. You know what I'm saying? I raised her. She's in her last year in Howard University, even though, she took a semester off. But yeah, like it's just amazing to me. Like, like even though I was like hard on my daughter and stuff like that, I know that, and now you got a kid walking around, these Gen Z little girls walking around talking about they don't want to be strong. What you mean you don't want to be strong? What's wrong with being strong? It's like it's a taboo word to them now, you know. And men, they got to be men. I'm not saying that men is supposed to provide and protect, but that's what I knew my father in the house, and that's what he did.
I'm not
He
saying, but
provided, he
listen,
protected, he also prayed with us.
I'm not saying men are not supposed to provide and protect. Do we even understand what provide means? That we gotta no, this doesn't mean, oh, he has to come and provide this lavish lifestyle that some of these women can't even provide for themselves. That's not providing. When my
No,
grandpa,
not a lavish lifestyle, but you know what I mean, Charlotte.
no, what I'm saying is,
No, because our grandmothers went through it. I remember my grandmother as a little child telling my dad one day, when you come home from work on a Friday, give your wife $200 in her hand. If she want to go to the groceries and pick up things or whatever, give your wife a certain amount of cash that you can afford. And I heard my grandmother, which is his mom, tell him that. And that always stuck with me. You know what I'm saying?
and that's understandable. Nobody's not telling a man to don't give a woman money to be able to take care of the household and do different things.
Right.
Nobody's saying that. What I'm saying is y'all might not see it because some women don't want to see it, the bad behavior. But what I'm
Yeah,
saying is
pretty ones,
providing.
chicken heads, the ones who want to go get their nails done, the ones who want to go to the club, the ones who want to get their weed, those females, and those are the ones that they tend to go for. So if you want to be a trick or whatever, and the the balance goes hand in hand. Don't bring a street trick chick off the street who this girl got on a $400 wig, $200 nails, a Chanel bag, and she don't work nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Where is she getting this money from? Could you afford this lifestyle? These are the things that men need to start asking themselves before they start dating.
But see, you're being contradicting now because first, you're saying men are supposed to provide and protect.
No.
Let's unpack
Depending
that.
on what kind of female.
But
Depending on the
you didn't
female. That's
say
why
that
I
at
said don't
first.
bring the average.
You
You
didn't say
know,
that. That's not
well,
what you said at first. You said men are supposed to provide and protect. You said that
right.
your
Then I
grandma
brought
or
my
your
grandmother
mom.
instance in.
Right, but
That's what I mean
okay, but
with providing.
hold on. Listen to what I'm saying.
I don't mean you got to get my nails done or my hair done or anything, because I'm not even into that. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, and that's because I'm probably a little bit older now. But at the end of the day, like, don't come here and think, oh, because, my rent is paid, you're just going to, lay on my couch and not want to give me $200 at the end of the week. And, it's something, even if it's not $1 million or whatever, it's something that you're paying a bill, maybe a cable bill, a light bill, like, I don't know. I don't know. I think every relationship is different. And I think that people should try to date and attract people that have their values.
Okay.
And a lot of Black women don't have okay, I'm gonna stay home and I'm gonna prepare a meal for my king because he's out there working.
Okay.
I already said it. I know. I want to trust her. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay. So this
Yeah,
is
he's on the road 7 days a week. Like,
right.
like when he comes home, I could even buy a meal and put it there if he give me the $200.
All right, but listen to me. I listened to what you had to say. Now, do you even see that my show was about molestation tonight, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I
That
did get way off topic.
right, because this is what we came to the table to discuss. Do you see how you came on and you said lighten up on us? Lighten
Yeah.
up on us sisters. Like, this is my thing. When it comes to a child being abused or molested, I'm not gonna lighten up. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna say what need to be said. I'm gonna be a
You
voice
know
for
what?
children. We all should
You
be
know
a
what
voice
my dad
though.
used to tell me when I asked him, could I go over to my cousin's house? Cousins make dozens. And I didn't understand what he meant by that. I used to be like, what the F is he talking about? I asked him to go spend the night. He used to be like, you have your own bed and you will sleep in it. You understand? And he was there. So when you remove fathers out of the household, you know what I'm saying? It kind of like lets your kids become vulnerable because people do have other people that they're going to want to be intimate with. And you don't know if this person is coming to see you or your child. You know, me, I didn't trust anything. You know, let her become an adult. And then I didn't want any men around my daughter, you know, so I decided not to date the whole time.
Right. I understand.
Yeah.
I gotta
And if
go
I
though,
did
because
have, and if I did have a friend,
the phone
we went
line.
to a hotel, right?
The,
You know.
I understand what you're saying. The phone line's blowing up, but I gotta go. But thank you for calling in. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Um. That's what happened when I first put this video out, and a lot of women were um taking it and making it somewhere else, which is really, really sad. And that just shows more that our children out here are unprotected and people don't care. People don't care when the abuse is at the hands of the mother, and we just gonna be real. When it's her putting the children in a situation, people don't care. It's not just molestation, it's abuse. It's so many different things. It's moms are manipulative when it comes to their children, manipulating them when it comes to their fathers. Like, it's so much abuse that's so swept under the rug, and that children just got to deal with because it's like, this is my mom. I live with her. It's sad. It's sad that we're not even protecting our children's mental health. We're not even protecting their mental health. We're not even protecting them physically. Physically. It baffles me that people deflect like that. How do we take a topic about um children being molested, men that these women don't know having access to their children, these women leaving their children with anybody, and something end up happening, abuse, molestation, things like that. How did we get to lighten up on us? Why would I ever do that? Why would I ever do that when it comes to this type of topic? Why would I ever do that when it comes to the truth? This is the problem in our community. This is the problem. We only talk about things from the one side. We only talk about it when a man do it. It is the end of the world when a man do it. But women are being abusive and it's being swept under the rug. And these children are growing up with a lot of problems, mental problems. They need help. They growing up angry because somebody has been taking their innocence. Somebody's been doing things to them that they shouldn't be doing to them. Lighten up though. This just shows what type of shape we in. This is serious. My thing is, how don't these mothers know it's happening? How are these mothers sitting up looking in people's face and say, I didn't know? Okay, what's the safe word? I'm sorry. I'm on TikTok too. There's safe words on TikTok. Okay, so what's a safe word for me to say? Touched. Is that a safe word? Yes. Miss Ann Pritchett is very serious with, when children are touched and they're mistreated. It is. I feel like I can sit up here and I can talk about solutions. Hello, caller.
How you doing, Miss Charlotte King? Yeah, this is Jamal Ivory.
I'm good, and you? How you doing?
This is also known as Burn.
Okay. Did you want to weigh in on what I was talking about?
Hey, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I told you back in December I was molested by my mother and passed on to my sister. I never was penetrated, so this topic is like somewhat similar. So it's a total difference when it comes from your mother and your family members because these are people that you supposed to trust and love.
Right.
And to be growing up, because it happened to me when I was 3 years old and I'm 39, and
Mm-hmm.
to to tell you now, all that time, it hurts me. It made me. It set me on a path where I had to be tougher than everybody. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I had to go to the streets. You know what I'm saying? And because I didn't want to be in the house. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I when I ran to the streets, I was very successful in the streets, not in a good way, but
Right.
I was a successful drug dealer. I was successful, you know what I'm saying, doing the things I was, but it was the things I didn't want to be in the house, you know what I'm saying, because it was everything, run the bath water, do this, just everything was sexual, you know what I'm saying, and I didn't like that, you know what I'm saying, it was so uncomfortable, but it I ended up going start getting locked up when I was 13, and
Mm-hmm.
what God did was at that time I was being groomed to being too feminine. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember I come home one day, this one dude tried to a homosexual tried to proposition me to suck my for $1,500, and I asked my mother. She said, "Go, boy, go get it." You know what I'm saying? And just the flip it mind frame to say that. You know what I'm saying? And at 13, even I'm glad I was a man at 13 to not do that. You know what I'm saying? So because I was out in the streets by that at that time, but to do things like for me to become a man by being in prison for 26 years. That was I think that was what God, that's what I needed because I was too feminine because I was causing too many problems with myself because I didn't know how to be a man because I was being my mother's man. And then I was being my sister's man. I was being everybody's man but me. You know what I'm saying? So God took me out that way because I went to prison and now I'm being a man for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's a problem now because I'm not allowing nobody to steal my energy. I'm not allowing my past pain to, to harm me and to harm the relationships in the future and in the present. You know what I'm saying? Even though I feel some type of way. I'm not gonna sit here and lie like it's you know, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't focus on. You know what I'm saying? It's not nothing to focus on because I'm not about to be a prisoner to you. I would never give you that much power. You had that power when I was young, but you don't have that no more. I'm 39 years old. I would never give you that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I'm sorry that happened to you. You definitely didn't deserve that, and I wish somebody could have been a voice for you. Cause that's a trauma that what's so crazy to me, like when women are the R word, it is taken so serious. It's like people tiptoe around the feelings of someone that been R, and it's like these men are out here experiencing the same thing. I used to advocate for people incarcerated. And Jamar, thank you for sharing and thank you for calling in, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Okay.
you for doing the things you're doing. And did you read and get all the things that I sent to you? Because I've been having a problem with my mental health specialist, and
Okay.
you might
I'll call
all the
you
things.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Bye-bye. Um and I was advocating in the guy. This is like the third time it happened to me. and he was incarcerated, and he told me, he was like, and he told me I could share, not just his name, but I can share his situation. He was molested by his aunt. And I'm looking at I'm like, what? He was like, yeah, I never shared that with nobody. Do you know that children have to trust you? I'm back. I'm back, y'all. I don't know what happened. No, I do know what happened. My phone had died. It had went off. But I was talking about how can we like stop this cycle. You know, how can we, when we come in contact with children that we love, nieces, nephews, cousins, how can we um make sure they're safe? I think how we can make sure they're safe is, by just when we see them, like loving on them, hugging on them, saying positive things, that makes a child comfortable with you. I think that's why children have been comfortable with me, because I show them love. I'm always giving them hugs, and so happy to see them. So they gonna feel like, oh, comfortable. I could talk to Shalakemia. I could tell, you know, Shalakemia. I'm just really interested in stopping the cycle when it comes to this. I know people have expressed to me that they knew something was going on, that M was going on, and didn't say nothing because they didn't want the person to be mad at them. We can't worry about that. We can't worry about that. Why would you ever be worried about somebody being mad at you versus protecting a child? I will never understand anything like that. I feel like when it comes to women, you know, being the abuser is taken too lightly. It's taken too lightly. I've seen cases where fathers was fighting for custody, and while they was fighting for custody, their child got killed by the mother and the mother's boyfriend. I didn't mean to say that. She got unalived by the mother and the mother's boyfriend. It's like, how can we prevent this? I know everybody has, and I want y'all to be in the comments. How, because somebody watching right now needs this. Somebody know that a child is being emmed. They're being touched. Somebody knows something. Hello, caller.
Oh, yes. How you doing there?
Um,
I seen a number on your show. I just wanted to say, you're a very positive lady, and I like what you be talking about. And that's pretty much it.
oh, okay. Thank you so much.
I know. You saw you are real sexy, so I want to get on this phone.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Have a good evening.
I know. Bye, bye.
Anyway, so it's like I know that we have some type of solutions. The solutions that I have is, like I said, making a child feel comfortable. I ask, children, like, are you okay? you know um Anybody hurt your feelings, anybody hurt you, that's just me communicating. I don't just go up to random kids and do things like this, but kids that I know, just to make sure like they're safe. Our community should really be worried about our kids being safe and stopping, this cycle of, kids being emmed and then growing up, and I have people that grew up, and still ain't told nobody. Cause who they gonna tell? That's they mom husband, that's their mom boyfriend, that's their mom favorite cousin, favorite brother, dad, uncle, whoever, and still ain't saying nothing. Just gotta live with it. So it's like, how do we stop this though? Um, Miss Ann Pritchard said, I think that we should teach children that it is okay to talk things out and not to keep it bottled up. Lots of parents these days and in the past think that children are just to listen and not speak. I agree with her. I agree with her. If you are a parent, I feel that is co-parenting, and you communicate with your child. I feel like you should be asking your child the necessary questions. We shouldn't be embarrassed about having these type of conversations. Ask your child, has anybody ever touched you, that a touch that you didn't like? Or, and if they be like, no, let them know. If someone ever does touch you and you don't like it and it hurts you, tell me. You can always tell me, no matter what. That's a conversation you need to be having with your child. Because I mean, it's sad we can't control a lot of children. I'm not gonna say a lot. Some live with the mom. I know a lot of children that live with their father, so and vice versa. It goes both ways. You have to ask. Women are predators too. So you can't just think, oh, that's a woman, she wouldn't do that. You can't think that way. It's a lot of predators out here. So you have to have that conversation. And I want to know, um, okay, good. Luciana. Awesome. Luciana said I have these conversations with my children. Absolutely. I don't know if y'all heard about it, but there was a little child that was being molested on a bus ride home. This is why it's important to have these conversations, because now, I didn't even mean to say that word, but being emmed on a school bus on the way home. So a predator can be It can be anybody. Let's be real. But we need to have the conversations because let me tell you something. I'm not being smart. I just don't understand how a mother did not know the man she had lived in her house molested her children. And it happened for years. How do you, as a mother, sit up and you don't know? How you, as a father, don't know? Your child should be comfortable enough to come to you if they are hurt and someone is hurting them. It don't matter who it is. We are their safe haven. We are their safe haven. In some of these situations, these kids can't trust their mom because their mom love they abuse her. That's why the moms they don't know. But let me tell you something, baby. I'm not gonna love my abuser. I'm not gonna love my child abuser that much that my child can't come to me and say, "Mom, this is what this person is doing," and this person got to go until we investigate and do the necessary things that we need to do. I'm sorry. You have to understand this. I will understand if it's your child. I will go. I will remove myself from the situation. You know why? Because you have to protect your child. I wouldn't even be mad about it. I wouldn't even feel no type of way about it. You know what I mean? Protect your child. But little kids ain't sitting up lying about nothing like that. Now you may I mean some kids do be lying about stuff like this because they don't like that parent. We gonna talk about that too. They don't like their step parent, so they will lie on their step parent and they gonna tell the most dangerous, hurtful lie to get the step parent out of the house. But you have to know when your child's lying and when your child ain't lying. And not saying you're gonna know off the back, but do an investigation. You know, do what you gotta do. But you have to protect your children. You have to. I don't know. That would hurt me if my child come and say, well, this has been happening for a long time. I live in the same house. How? Your children, it ain't even about being being touched. Your children should be able to come and talk to you about anything. Anything. We got to check our households. Cause too much of this is happening and it's not being talked about. It's being swept under the rug. My heart hurts when I hear these stories. Do y'all understand that? I heard these stories so much I'm like I got to talk about it. One young girl told me I couldn't say my mom loved him. My mom made it clear she loved this man. She was married to him. I just didn't feel like she was going to believe me over him. Excuse me? Those things can't happen. Those things absolutely cannot happen. You know there are signs. There are signs. I'm telling you, there's signs. Ain't no way that people are missing the signs that that's happening. Ain't no way. The number is 404. I'm sorry, TikTok 404-913-5599. Could somebody put that in there and I can pin that in TikTok for me? 404-913-5599. Michael said because they don't care. Now I'm going through this with my babysitter and they don't believe me. See? Yep. Miss yes, a predator can be anyone and things can happen anywhere. Do you know the child I was telling you about that was getting molested on that was getting molested, hold up, getting molested on a school bus? They didn't even know. It was going on for a long time. Hello, caller.
Yes, hi. This is looking at you looking. I was just posting about a little bit of my history. I was just listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to make sure, can you hear me okay? And I'm not like, there's no echo or anything.
Yep, I can hear you clearly. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for accepting my phone call.
Absolutely.
Um, it's funny that I just stumbled across this a stitch, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what you were talking about, but you were very clear in the fact that you said what you said, period, and point blank. And I was trying to figure out what you were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just scrolling through the like the many little videos, and it just went onto your live page,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I got onto your live.
Oh, okay.
And you're talking about S abuse and
Mm-hmm.
M,
Mm-hmm.
and I am 48. I'm about to be 49,
Mm-hmm.
and I am a survivor of extreme abuse. And when I say extreme, I'm talking about all types of abuse, emotional, physical, everything.
Mm-hmm.
From the time that I was 4 years old, probably even before that. I do have like flashbacks of me lying in my crib and a male figure hovering over me and touching me. So I suffer now. There was an incident that happened um, maybe a year ago or so
Mm-hmm.
that kind of unlocked the
Mm-hmm.
memories. And it was very traumatic, and it unlocked the memories and caused me PTSD, anxiety, and all of that, and to where I suppressed a lot of these memories. And you were just speaking about not talking about it, not sharing it with your parents, things
Right.
like that. Well, I'm one of the people that I did share it with my mother.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what the people that did these things to me
Mm-hmm.
weren't just outsiders. There was a time in my life, I must say, really quickly,
Mm-hmm.
that I thought that I was born just to be a rape or, or a M victim.
Right.
Because for a very, very long period in my life,
Mm-hmm.
that's all that happened to me. And I really believe that the enemy had a hit out on my life to take me out of here through that means.
Mm.
Until I learned to pray prayers of protection
Right.
for myself, that's when it stopped. But
Mm.
I did, it was female family members and family members constantly, no matter where my mother would take me and let me spend the night or drop me off for a little while. It was always as if these kids or teenagers or adults
Mm-hmm.
just for some reason like the depravity
Yeah.
inside of them wouldn't allow them to keep their hands off of me as a kid. And
Wow.
I one day I did actually tell my mother,
Mm-hmm.
and I showed her the damage, if you can understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And she just washed me up and told me to lay down and take a nap. Period. That was it. She never told my father. And I did grow up in the house with a very loving father,
Mm-hmm.
2 parent household, and a hardworking father. My mother never had to work, but my mother herself was very physically abusive. She hung my sister out of a window just for saying that she wanted my grandmother. I got punched in the jaw and face knocked crooked because I didn't cook a piece of sausage the right way. I mean, so these are the types of things that people don't know are happening
Yeah.
to people behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And at this age, you would look at a person like me, I'm an employer, but I
Mm-hmm.
also manage. Actually, I have a background of 20 some odd years in nonprofit work.
Okay.
I actually manage a business office for an adoption agency We do therapeutic foster care with the
Okay.
focus being on reunification for children, which
Mhm.
is my passion. So I took the hurt and pain that I was feeling and tried to, in some way, put it back into the community. And now I give back by working with any young woman or young man that needs my help. I
Right.
give that back to them in any way,
Mhm.
shape, or form that I can. And I also do that through my work with the adoption agency.
Mhm.
So you would never know to look at
Right.
me that I've been through all that I've been through because I don't show that. I
Mhm.
just do my best to go through every single day and see that day as just that day.
Right.
See a moment as just a moment because if I try to think of, what's going to happen tomorrow,
Yeah.
what's going to happen from an hour from now, I will have a panic attack because all of those thoughts of what happened to me before start to rush in, and the fact that nobody defended me, nobody helped me. Some people knew what was happening to me. Some people walked in on me and saw what was happening and didn't help me. I would cry out in my sleep and things like that. There was one
Mm.
time where something happened to me, and I told my mom, and she beat the heck out of me and said, basically, because I was well developed, it was my fault.
That was
I
not your
didn't.
fault.
So those were the things that I would, back in the day, back in the early and mid 80s, oh, you fast telling around. Well, I'm not fast telling around. It doesn't make me fast that I'm growing faster than other girls,
Right.
but somehow they made it to be my fault because I was more developed than other girls. And if men wanted to try to take advantage of me or, other people, then it was my fault because I was well developed. And that was a mentality that came from old school, 60s, 50s, 40s. You were supposed to be seen, not heard, or whatever, or you not supposed to let adults see you after a certain time. You're supposed to be off somewhere or whatever. And if they see you, it's taboo, et cetera, et cetera. And you being fast. That's neither here nor there.
Crazy.
An adult person has no business wanting anything to do with a kid,
Right.
regardless. And so
Right.
going back, my mother, before she passed away, she opened up and she did reveal to me that she was also uh, brutalized and victimized in that way as well,
Mhm.
and never received help, never received counseling, never received any care. And the way that she treated me was basically because that is the way that she was treated. And so she didn't know how to care for me
Mhm.
in my time of need because no one cared for her correctly.
So it was a domino
So,
effect. It was almost like it was a cycle,
hmm
that
yes,
was going on. And that's why I wanted to talk about this. Like, how do we, protect children? How do we prevent things, you know, um, like this?
yes,
Like
ma'am.
the stories I'm hearing are just too sad. Like, the people that are reaching out to me, and it's men too, saying, at a young age, they were emmed by a man.
hmm
And they have to, the sad thing about it is they'll say, I'm not gay though, Shalakimia. I'm not gay
hmm
though. And I have to tell them with a hurt heart, I don't think you're gay.
hmm
You see what I'm
hmm
saying? But it's sad because they're a victim of something. And
hmm
and something that they didn't want and didn't ask for, and they have to be afraid of being called gay.
Yeah.
That is the
Yeah.
saddest thing ever to me. I'm
Yep.
just like, I don't.
Um.
I had to tell him, I
I,
don't think you're gay. I don't. Please don't worry about that. I'm more worried about your healing and your mental
mhm,
state. You see what I'm saying? Because when you go through a situation like that, people, like you said, people express to me they've had flashbacks. They've had
mhm.
triggers, when they had to be around, the person that did that to them.
Yeah, and I literally, I've never I've told my oldest sister who lives in a different state,
Mm-hmm.
and she said that she will always be there when or if I'm ready to tell my other siblings that live in the same state as those people.
Mm-hmm.
But there's maybe a handful of people that know and haven't said anything about it, but I don't think that I want to say anything because my brother is extremely close to the person or people, the three main people that did it. I actually became pregnant and had my son as a result of the molestation. Sorry, the M. And my son is now 32, going on 33. And so it's, if I were to say something to my oldest brother, it would tear him apart. My son knows what happened and he's not resentful of it at all.
Mm-hmm.
My parents tried to force me to have an abortion, but it's really weird that even though that happened,
Mm-hmm.
I just felt this sense of your child is blessed regardless. Don't do this. Don't have an abortion. And
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't bring, even at that young of an age, I was
Mm-hmm.
very, very intelligent and very perceptive. Don't have an abortion.
Right. Let me let
Your
me
child,
let me express
yeah.
something to you. I hear that a lot. I hear people saying they don't want to say anything. Um, they're
Mm-hmm,
fearful. They're fearful of saying something. You know, they don't want to hurt anybody. They don't want, what I mean. Like you saying, people are
mm-hmm.
close to this person. But let me express this right now. Let me
Yes,
express
ma'am.
this right now. Right. We
Yeah.
can't we can't care about that because
Okay.
do your brother got kids?
Yeah, it's I think what I'm afraid of is not for me. I think that it's for my brother, that I think that he might murder the
Like
person that did
he
this.
might do something
And I
to
don't
him.
want,
And
yeah,
I
I don't
understand
want
what you're
him to ruin
saying.
his life.
I know. And I would never want that for anybody either. But let's just think about when we don't speak up about these predators, they continue to prey.
Mm-hmm.
They continue to prey
Yeah.
on children. It just takes one person to speak up. So they're put where
Yeah.
where they belong, out of society, because just think about
Mm-hmm.
the trauma. And I want the people that have been through this to just think about this. And you on the phone, think about the trauma. If you have experienced this, think about the trauma and what you went through
Mm-hmm.
when it was happening to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you want that to happen to another child?
Not at all.
So you got to speak up. You have to
No.
do something. You have to tell people so people keep this person away from their children, just away, period. Just
Mm-hmm.
away, period. Because what if it does happen and then it comes out that people knew, and then people are like, well, why didn't you say something? We had them around our kids, and you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to be more vocal about these things because okay, it happened to me, but how about if
Mm-hmm.
I speak up, I can prevent it from happening to a lot of other people. What if this person is
Mm-hmm.
getting in relationships with women? You see what I'm saying? They looking them up. They don't have no Megan Law
Yeah.
charge, or so they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know unless somebody says something and something
Right.
happens. But when
Right.
when you be silent about it, the person keeps on praying.
Other people can be hurt.
They
because
keep
of it.
on
Yeah,
praying.
yeah,
Yeah. And it don't
yeah.
stop until
Maybe
somebody
that's
speaks
what
up.
my nightmares are about. Like I have since I was a kid, I had the same nightmare every probably 2, 3 times a week for
Mm-hmm.
and well, since I had started counseling and everything, like I don't really get the nightmares as often.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to sleepwalk really bad,
Mm-hmm.
and they determined that it was because of the trauma that I had suffered. Um, but the nightmare was that I was always being buried alive, and I was being put in a coffin, and I'm telling everybody that I'm still alive. But even though I'm screaming, telling everybody that I'm alive, my eyes are open, my arms are flailing, my legs, I'm kicking, screaming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling everybody I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive.
Right.
And I'm literally screaming so loud.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I'm awake, my voice is hoarse from me actually screaming in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And they're putting me in the coffin, lowering me into the ground, and I can literally feel like the dirt on my face. I can smell the soil. It feels wet, and I can actually see the dirt. I can see the people standing around crying and hear the people talking and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. And by the time that I wake up,
Mm-hmm.
I'm running through the house. One time I was literally like, it was so bad. I was actually in my nightgown running down the street. I don't know how I got out of the door,
Mm-hmm.
but I was running down the street at like 3 o'clock in the morning. It was like so bad.
Right.
And that's part of the anxiety, depression, PTSD, all of that. The night terrors rolled into one
Mm-hmm.
from trying to and I'm saying this and I'm being so open because I want people that are watching or listening or whatever
Mm-hmm.
to know that you can't suppress it, because the more that you suppress it, you're actually causing yourself brain damage. And that was what's happening to me. Like,
Happening.
I
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
to have sleep studies done. I had to have all of these different tests done on my head and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Like, I would wake
Wow.
up and I would be running. I would run into a wall and hit my face on a wall and
Yeah.
knock myself out and all of this stuff, just trying to run from what happened to me as a kid.
Right.
I was
So let me
trying to
stop
run
you.
from my past.
Right. Let me stop you from there. You know what now these what she's describing, like these are the traumas and these are the after effects. Um
Hmm.
People, I think people that never been through being emmed um don't understand that
Hmm.
it's not just this happened to me. This can affect you
Hmm.
for years and years to come. It can affect, just your everyday life. If you have one
Yes, ma'am.
flashback about it in the middle of the day, I don't think people really take it, serious. Like, that is serious. That is a
Yeah.
trauma,
Yeah.
that stays with you for a very long time.
Yeah.
I
I
know.
carry I carry anxiety medicine in my purse every day. Um, and you never know when you're going to have a panic attack. Like, you can feel like everything is all good. Like, one day I was all dressed up, looking good, smelling good, feeling good. Everything was perfect.
Hmm.
And then, just my manager said something to me like I never had I'm a very professional person.
Right.
Now I changed jobs in November.
Hmm.
My last job, I was on my job for almost 7 years.
Hmm.
Never had a mark whatsoever. Just
Right.
perfect record,
Hmm.
and I loved my job. And my manager brought a accusation against me that was really unbecoming of me, and I never would have
reacted or took it that way had he not continually been messing with me for like over a year.
Mm-hmm.
And when he did that, it really set me off because he had been just picking at me the whole week
Mm-hmm.
about one thing or another. Not my work, but just bringing stuff that had nothing to do with work against me.
So it was a
And I
trigger.
was really tired
Was it a
and I
trigger?
had a
Was it
full
a
blown panic attack.
was it a trigger for you?
Yep, it
Okay, it
triggered
was a
me and I
trigger.
had a full blown panic attack
Okay.
right there in my office in front of everybody.
Okay.
It was the most embarrassing moment of my life. And no one could understand what was going on because no one knew my past. No one
Right.
knows my business. And, but I'm happy that the people that came to me
Mm-hmm.
cared for me and
Right.
loved me because they just came to me, ran to me, grabbed me, and just start praying for me right away.
Right.
And that's how you know when people love you because they just hold you and start praying for you.
Right.
And they don't ask what's wrong, they just start praying because they never seen me like that before.
Right. Hold on. Give me
And
1 second. Hold on. I have to.
mhm.
I appreciate you sharing it. I gotta go. The phone line is like blowing up with people.
Oh,
But listen, no, I want to
yes,
thank you
yes,
for sharing
yes, yes,
because when people come on here and share like you do and share like she does, that gives us some insight on
yes,
what
ma'am.
people actually go through, that are victims of that. So I want to
Yes.
thank you so much for coming on and sharing, and we'll talk to you again.
Okay, yes, ma'am. I'm gonna jump back on so I can listen to everybody else. Thank you for
You're
listening to me.
welcome.
I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah, like people, like her sharing her story, like that's things that we definitely need. I wanted to look up this molestation that happened on the bus that I was telling you about. This happened in Texas, and the child was actually 6 years old. um and he was assaulted by an 11. I think the 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 child was, um hold on 1 second, caller. I think the child was 11, and this child was, they labeled it as an R, on the bus for months. The mother of a 6-year old Aldine ISD student said her son was sexually A for months by an older student on his bus before she was notified. It happened for months, and they did not tell this mother it happened. It says whenever you have an incident that happens on that campus, according to the Texas Education Agency laws, you are supposed to notify the parents of what has happened. According to the mother, her son, who is in the first grade, rides the bus with older children, which she had complained about. She said, I've come here before inquiring why my son on the bus with older children. I've sat here for 2 hours one day waiting to speak to someone about this particular bus route, the lack of having a regular bus driver, the fact that the routes always change, that he was there, five and 6 year olds, for 2 hours at a time. And the mothers who name that they're not releasing since the case is an essay is involved said that Tuesday her son came home without a backpack, which caused her to ask what happened. He came home without a backpack on Tuesday. She said she called the school's transportation department the next morning, asked if they could radio on the driver to see if his items were on a bus. That the day that I requested it, I was told in a nonchalant manner another student tossed it out the window. So I asked to speak to a supervisor. I spoke to a supervisor. I asked them if they could review it, identify the student, get the principal so we could have a parent teacher conversation with the other family to rectify the situation. And that's when she found out that no, I thought that perhaps my son did something wrong. I get to the school and I find out that my son was sexual essayed. Days of talking to my child, the details became more and more graphic. Every each and every time. From what I thought was just an oral incident was really a physical incident. No one being held accountable. I'm angry. That hurt. Reading that hurt very badly. Let me take this call. Hello, caller.
Hey, Neil, what's going on? It's fire.
Hey, Byron, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I
Good.
was calling. I was listening to the topic and everything. First of
Mm-hmm.
all, I want to say to that young lady that was just on, man, her strength is impeccable. I'm glad for her comeback. With the things that she's going through actually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when it comes to the M
Mm-hmm.
and in the African American community,
Mm-hmm.
it's often taboo with families to say anything. They like to sweep it under the rug.
Yeah.
And her saying that's actually was one of the reasons why I was going to say what I was going to say. It's like, it's swept under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of basis on into everything too, because it's like when it's done,
Mm-hmm.
the children sometimes also they're the victims, but they often make you feel like it's their fault.
Yeah.
And you said something earlier as to where the children need to be able to trust in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
But the scary part is to me is that them trusting is in a sense what made it kind of happen too.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, that's how pedophiles get to the children.
Hmm.
They get to them through the trust.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it's like that that judge, because of us not installing in the children, they don't understand.
Right.
But then it's like they're made the victim.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, okay, now it's your fault. So it's like children is just like they're lost.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's hurtful to see it, and it's like how can we as the adults fix it?
Yeah.
But it's hard for the adults to fix it too, because when you look at this, you look at how people are brought up.
Yeah.
A lot of homes where people are brought up, they didn't have that whole family dynamic. They
Right.
were brought up on survival. They didn't have love. They were brought up on survival. And if you look at the whole situation, people that's brought up on survival and people that's brought up on love, they turn out two different people.
Right.
So now you have the mother that was brought up on survival. Now she's brought up on survival, and she loves the person that's doing what they're doing to her child.
Yeah.
So now it's like it's either the person that's going to make, say that's providing for me and taking care of the family, or my child.
Byron, do you know someone that went? Do you know someone that has shared that with you that they've been in?
Yes, I know a lot. Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes, and from experience, from seeing it like throughout the world and listening to other people's stories.
You went through it?
Yeah, I did.
What?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. It's it's when I tell you people go through a lot, and you have to be mentally strong. You have to be mentally strong, and
Right.
you have to have God on your side.
True.
You have to, in order for you to get through it from day to day.
Mm-hmm.
To
Wow.
be to fight, because like she said, it messes with you mentally. It does,
Mm-hmm.
and to get yourself out of bed every day and go on like it's nothing happening,
Yeah.
it is an ongoing battle. And depression is real,
Right. So have
you
you
know.
have you shared that with anyone?
Oh yeah, I've talked about it
Okay, so
because
you
for one, I don't
okay.
want anybody to feel the way that I felt. That's
Right.
my thing is that if I can stop anybody from going through what I went through,
Mm,
then I feel like I've done something positive and I've done something right in my life.
right.
Should no kid have to go through that?
Right.
No child, none whatsoever. And
Right.
but unfortunately, it's a lot, and it's not even in the black community. It's just in the black community. It's in all communities.
Yeah, that's true. It
And
is.
you know, our children are victims, but those children also grow up to become adult victims also.
Yeah. I just
And with that being said, is that we often we look at the parents
yeah.
and we say that the parents need to do what's going on, need to protect the child, but we got to also understand that those parents were unprotected kids also.
Right. Somebody said you're so
So we
brave.
have to stop that generational curse.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. Somebody in the comments said you're so brave.
I don't look at it as being brave, just look at it as being a survivor and just trying to, what I'm saying, change the world and just, stop children that's being hurt and going through it. Because
Yeah.
my situation's messed up, but I've heard situations 10 times worse.
But let me tell
Yeah.
you this. It is being brave, because Byron, at the end of the day, you have men that don't have anybody to express it to, because 9 times out of 10 they were in by a man, and they don't want someone to look at them like they're gay or they're bi, or things like that, or look at them differently. I know people like that, and that's messed up, that you have to be thinking that way about something you didn't ask that happened to you. But I think
Right.
it is brave for you to be able to speak about that. There's a lot of people that can't heal because they won't talk about it. I feel like when you talk about things, the healing starts because you're
True.
you're talking about it, and
You're accepting it.
you're not really accepting what happened to you, but because I don't ever want to say accepting that, because you shouldn't have to accept something like that.
Well, no, no. Well, what I mean by accepting it, it's like, okay, well, this has happened. Now I can actually move on.
Okay.
I can,
Okay.
what I'm saying, I can live for me now.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
understood.
That's what I meant by accepting it.
Okay, I understand that. I took it out of context. It's just a very I've heard these stories over the last few years, even men that never expressed it to anybody expressing it to me. I'm not surprised anymore though when men just come and talk to me and pour their heart out, because they're not used to having someone to do that with. So it doesn't really surprise me anymore, but the graphic details about these things are ridiculous. I had a woman
Oh,
call into my show one time, and she was like, she was talking about, yeah, if a man gets molested, I'm gonna look at him as gay. A lot of y'all probably remember that video where me and her was going back and forth. And I said, you're a part of the problem. I said,
right.
at the end of the day, that's not a man's fault because he's been M. Are you crazy? She said, well, I wouldn't say it to him, but I would think it in my mind. What?
That is so messed up. That's just like, what the young lady was doing, that, what I'm saying, they basically said because she was growing and she was filling out that it was her fault. Like, how could you say it's a child's fault for just growing, for just
Right.
growing up?
Yeah.
You know, that's wrong on so many levels. She's
Absolutely.
just doing what's coming to her body naturally and what nature has intended for her to happen. And she's growing up. And because people can't control their urges, what I'm saying, they they were preyed on too. That's the thing. Often when like kids exhibit that type of behavior,
Mm-hmm.
it was done to them first
Done
before
to
them to
them,
actually exhibit that behavior.
right? Done to them first.
They,
That's
they
just
mimic
like
behavior, they mimic things that is done
done to
to them.
them. Yeah, yeah. So with the story I just read about in Texas, when I first heard about it, I'm just like, I really didn't have any words. Like, what? So that 11-year-old that did that to that 6-year-old, that I feel like 9 times out of 10 that was done to him,
Right.
and everything's about to hit the fan about that. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I, I just really want to talk solutions, what to look out for. A lot of people are mandated to report these things, and they don't. They don't. And I'm going to tell you how I feel. I feel when people do not speak up about these things and people do not report these things, you are just as bad as the abuser. And I hope these
Yeah.
people are watching me. I hope they're going to watch the replay. I hope somebody share this with somebody. You are just as bad. You might as well have did it. Because ain't no way I'm going to know a child is being hurt and I'm not going to speak up about it. I'm not going to say
At
something.
the, at the end of the day, it's the big A. It's accountability, and people
Yeah.
don't want to take it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something, but what we need, but that needs to stop happening in our community. That would happen at my house, stay in my house. People are using that in the wrong context. They
Yep.
are using that, and then kids feel like, well, I can't even tell nobody. So I just gotta what? Wait for them to come in my room at night. Wait till everybody in the living room drinking, and they try to slide in the room. Like, come on.
Yep. Then
How
that's what
can we
had
we gotta
happened.
we gotta protect these kids. Even when we know what's going on with other people's kids, we have to protect it. I'm mandated. I'm a foster parent. I've been a foster parent and a kinship. People know what kinship is. Kinship is when you take care of family. And
Right.
foster is when you foster other children. I've been doing that since I was about 18 years old. I'm mandated to report these kind of things. But it shouldn't even take a mandate. You should just want to do the right
No.
thing and protect the child that does not have a voice, that's being hurt. That's being hurt. You should just want to report it. I stopped being friends with somebody, no lie. I stopped being friends with somebody that told me that they nephew, it was happening to their nephew. And I instantly reported that. They told me it was happening, and well, why didn't you say nothing? What's wrong with you? I'm sorry, I can't be close to nobody like that. How do you sleep at night? That's what I really be
I
wanting
don't.
to know from these people. How do you sleep at night knowing a child is being hurt
Um,
in that type of way, any type of way?
to take the innocence of a child away, it's just
It's sick.
it's sickening. It is so
It's
sickening.
sick. Those people, let me tell you something. Everybody
They're,
that
they're
knew need to
babies.
go to prison. Everybody that knew needs to register for making law. Everybody that knew about it need to be locked up.
They're
Everybody.
babies.
And do y'all know what children are targeted the most when it comes to SA or being M? Children with disabilities.
Yep. Because
Children with disabilities are targeted. If you have a child that has disabilities, you better be careful who you have around that child. These people ain't right. They got demons on them. Their spirit ain't right. You got to be
so
careful. Stop dropping. I had to tell somebody today, stop having everybody watch your kids because you want to go to the bar, baby. The bar ain't that important. The bar ain't that important. I just, well, who watching your kids? Oh, my boyfriend
my friend's
family.
cousin.
You don't
Oh,
even know
no, no,
them.
no, no, no.
Right. Stop leaving your kids with just anybody so you can run and have a good time. Stop that. And when y'all see somebody doing things like that, say something. You might be saving
That
a
that
child. You might
that
be
good time
saving a
can
child
cost
from
you
being
years of pain.
abused. Yeah. That right there, I'm like, how do you leave your blessings with some people you don't even know? Let me tell you something. My kids used to be mad at me, baby. Because my kids would be like, oh, well, mom, I want to go stay tonight. No, you can't. They could come stay over here. I don't know who live in their house. I don't know who be over there. They could come stay
Right.
here. My kids used to be so mad, like, we can't never go nowhere and stay. Like, sure can. Not the amount of people that done vented to me, something happened to them. Absolutely not. I don't know what's going on over there. And let me tell you something. If my kids would have stayed tonight, I wouldn't have been able to sleep. I wouldn't have been able to sleep. My youngest son went to a boarding school and it was hard. I always had that conversation with him every single time with both of them. And they be looking at me like, Mom, for real? Like we'll beat
For
somebody
real,
up.
mom?
We'll be
Really?
yeah, we'll beat somebody up. They do that. No, baby. No, baby, I'm for real. I understand y'all will beat somebody up and do something, but I need to know if someone did something to you. I need to know that. We don't have the necessary conversations with our children that we need to be having. We just don't. That's why these moms don't know what's going on in their house. They don't know. They so busy on Facebook doing this and doing that and getting their hair done and doing this and looking fly and the whole time, your children are being messed with and you don't know.
Right.
We should be knowing everything that's going on in our house. We should know. I'm sorry. 4 or 5 years, your children been being molested by the person you with and you don't know, by a family member, your brother, your dad, whoever, their father, and you don't know. How don't you know? You don't have a strong enough relationship with your children, baby.
Yeah. You should know something is off with your child.
Mm-hmm.
The moment a second it happens, that child is no longer the same. You should know.
Right.
If you in debt with your child, you should know. The moment a second happens, wait, come here. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
What you no,
What's wrong? And
but and also too, you know, like some children they don't say anything because they're made to feel ashamed.
yeah.
They're made to feel ashamed. Can you picture how that child feels? This is happening to them. They
Mm-hmm.
don't like it, and it's also made them feel ashamed. Do you understand the psychological burden that is on
Damage.
that child?
Damage that happens. Byron.
That is a psychological burden that they will have to carry with them for the rest of their life.
Right. Absolutely. Byron, I thank you so much for calling in. We gotta catch up. Me and
All right,
you.
I got you.
We definitely gotta catch up. Message me on Facebook so we can catch up. But thank you for calling in. That is brave of you to be able to talk because your story's gonna help somebody.
I hope it do. I hope it do.
It will. I know, I
All
know,
right,
I
man.
know it will. Okay, have a good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye bye. I just um I'm gonna give about a few more minutes for I'm gonna take one or two more calls if anybody wanna call in. But we talked about, the issues and we also touched on the solutions. Closing out, I want to talk about more solutions. We talked about communication. Um, these days, with a lot of abuse going on, I think that, communication, as far as, sometimes, you know, seeing, sitting down with your kids, having family meetings. Does anybody, hey cousin, love you. Um, does anybody, do family meetings anymore where you just sitting down with your children? You see what I'm saying? Having those safe conversations, maybe started out with, asking everybody, how's school, how you feel about school, is everything okay at school, anybody bothering you, anybody bullying you, anybody touching you. And I would, this is how I would approach it, with my kids, and then, they tell me what they want to tell me. And then I let everybody know that, anybody can speak during a family meeting, express yourself, you know, and I will also make it known to my children is that if anybody needs to talk to me privately about anything, anybody hurting you, anybody abusing you, you can talk to me privately. Just tell me you need to talk to me privately. I would do that because a child may not want to say it in front of their siblings. They may not want to say it around, if the abuser is there. You know, um I would at night, I would go and I would talk to my children and I would double check. Is there anything, you want to share with me? You know, anybody hurting you, anybody bothering you, bullying you at school, anybody hurting you here at home? Has your brothers, has anybody in this house ever hurt you? Sometimes you have to go to those extra lengths to protect your children. And you need to make your children feel, and just know that this is a healthy, a healthy environment. I'm here. I'm here. I'm your parent. You can talk to me about anything. I don't care if someone threatened you. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing to you. I'm here to protect you. You have to make the environment comfortable. You have to make the environment safe. I would definitely recommend family meetings as a group, and I would have meetings one on one. Absolutely. 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 That's something that I think is needed, and it's a given. Thank you so much. It's something that's needed. It's a given. If you weren't doing those things, I would start, doing those things once a week, having a family meeting. I think that's needed not just in these instances about someone being SA'd, but period. Your kids could be being bullied at school. You see what I'm saying? Something could be going on at school, you know and not just bullied at school. They could need help in school. A teacher could make them feel some type of way. You just always want to know what's going on with your children. So I would definitely once a week have a meeting on, Sundays. It could be Saturdays, it could be, Sundays. Just have a meeting and discuss whatever need to be discussed. Always just, so your child has that communication. I wouldn't have meetings like with my kids. They would be, I have boys, so they would be playing the game. And that's the time I got them together. So I would ask them, like, anybody ever touch y'all? And they look at me crazy, no, I'm for real. And they be like, no, mom, no. If somebody touches, we going to beat them up. We going to beat them down. We going to swoop them. And I'm like, okay, but if somebody does do that to y'all can let me know. I'm here. I have that open communication, you know, with my sons, to where it's like I didn't always have it with both, but I had to change that. You see what I'm saying? I used to have it with both when they was younger, but it's like when boys get older, they some become a little shut off. And society makes men think they supposed to be so strong. They can't express how they really feel. They got to be strong all the time. You see what I'm saying? They can't express how they feel. And I have to continue to tell my boys, like, no, we don't do that in this house. You know what I mean? We don't operate like that in this house. If you feel some type of way about something, you speak on how you feel. That's what this is, because I want to make sure that y'all mental health is where it needs to be. You see what I'm saying? So I think the communication piece with your children is definitely key. You can always, even children that come in, your the your children's friends, nieces, nephews, family, cousin. I'm not saying sitting down like, oh, has anybody, but sometimes you could just be like, you okay? Everything okay? Ain't nobody messing with you? That makes a child that's not yours feel safe. And I think that's why a lot of children come to me, and express things that, what I mean, need to be talked about. This is how a lot of children were comfortable, not children, teenagers were comfortable, saying, hey, Miss Mia, I've been feeling suicidal. You see what I'm saying? Some of them see me on the news, talking about being suicidal. Some watch my videos. I interact with them, so they're able to come to me because they know that I'm a safe haven. To be like, this happened to me. Be that safe haven for the children that be with the children and your family. The children in the community, your children's friends. Be that safe haven. Like I said before, it takes a village when it comes to our children. You see what I'm saying? And we don't want anybody to be hurt. So being that safe haven, you could be saving that child and helping that child, and intervene from that child being abused. You see what I'm saying? It's children going through a lot of things, not just SA. A lot of these children are young, they feel suicidal. You see what I'm saying? And we don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want them to feel that way. You see what I'm saying? But it does need to be, people in the community that our children can trust. Some children are being abused by their parents. They can't trust their parents. They need to be able to trust an aunt, an uncle, a grandmom, somebody. Somebody. We have to start being safe havens. We have to start protecting our children in the community. So we went over communication and ways to communicate with children that are not ours, that are family members. Just a simple, "Are you okay? Anything bothering you? Ain't nobody bothering you or that, like that." And they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Miss Mia, they're probably like, "Oh, this person at school bullying me. Like, did you tell your mom and your dad?" You see what I'm saying? Just that right there, get a child comfortable enough with you. If we know about it, we need to be alerting the parents. You see what I'm saying? And if the parents don't be proactive with it, we need to be proactive with it, and we need to report that so there's a thorough investigation so that child is protected. We have to understand children don't have a voice. We have to understand that. So we are their voice in the community. We are their voice as their parent, their aunt, their uncle, their grandmom, their grandpa, whoever, family member, friend, we are their voice. You understand? You understand that? Um, Thank you. Thank you so much. But yeah, I want Meg Happer, we have to deprogram and re-educate. Absolutely. I agree with that. I agree with that. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Ann Pritchett. I just want to make sure that our children in the community are safe by any means possible. I care a lot about the kids in the community. I work with a lot of the kids in the community, a lot of schools, and stuff like that because me working in the community, and when a child comes to me and expresses something, I need to communicate with that child, and I need to take the steps and say, does your parents know? What's happening at home with my mom? Did you communicate it with your dad? Then I need to get with whatever school they go to. I need to get with the guidance counselor and make the guidance counselor aware of what's going on so we can make the child safe. You see what I'm saying? So if you have a situation like that, that's the protocol that I take. If the parents don't know, I encourage them to talk to their parents. And I say, if you don't want to talk to your parents alone, I can talk to them with you. I can be there with you. Sometimes that helps some children when somebody is there. It is not just them and their parents. Somebody that they love and they trust is there. That helps too. You see what I'm saying? So I think those are some ways that we can do our part. When it comes to our children and also children in the community. But I want to just thank y'all, for tuning in tonight on this topic. We're going to have, many other topics and discussions, that aren't talked about, that need to be talked about because we need to raise the awareness about it. You see what I'm saying? We need to be educated by people that call in and share their stories. I like people that call in and share their testimonies because they educate the people that don't know nothing about it and never went through that. So I appreciate every single person that called in tonight. I'm telling you that there's somebody that's going to listen to this, that's going to be encouraged and inspired by what you said because they have lived it. And some people are still living in bondage behind it. You see what I'm saying? And I want my platform to be a platform where people come out of bondage. People seek God. You see what I'm saying? Seek God for healing, you know, and seek God for relationship. That's why we have to have these conversations that seem hard and difficult to other people. We need to be coming in these spaces and we need to have these conversations so we can save our community, save our children, save other people. A lot of people need healing. A lot of people need healing. These are the conversations that we need to have. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank everybody that commented, everybody shared. Thank you to the people that donated. Thank you for the to the people that called in and shared their testimony. Anytime I'm talking about a topic and you have a testimony linked to that, I encourage you to call in. You don't have to say your name or nothing. I encourage you to share your story. So you'll be able to jumpstart another victim's healing because you have a powerful testimony down on the inside of you that is going to help someone else. You have that. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight, and y'all have a great night. Thank you.